when it comes to survival caliber, really the best caliber is the one that fits the gun that you own. But I believe if you're actually searching for a gun in a certain caliber specifically for survival reasons, I believe these are the 5 best. So what are the 5? Well, I believe, again, if you own any gun and that's your gun, obviously whatever caliber is going to be the best one. So if you own a 30-30, obviously the best survival caliber for you is a 30-30. However, if you have multiple guns and you're kind of wanting to stock up on only one caliber for survival reasons, meaning some sort of change in the world, or you just have to be out in the wilderness surviving for a while, or whatever is in your head, do you think, well, I need to survive this situation? I believe there's 5 calibers that are going to probably fit best within that particular niche of guns in a toolbox, so to say. And in the end, there's so many variables here. You know, obviously you could have a top 5 list and be totally different than my top 5 list. Mine has some rationale behind it, and you know, but my variables are different than your variables as far as being out trying to survive with one gun and a pocket full of bullets. So here's what I believe to be the top 5 best guns for survival. Number 1, the 22LR. I mean, goodness gracious, the 22LR is a fantastic survival gun. Whether you have a handgun or a rifle, or both would kind of be ideal. I mean, I have a CZ452 Ultra Lux, and that giant barrel and its incredible accuracy is really like having a suppressed rifle. I love that thing. I would be very tempted to grab it as I headed out into the wilderness if that was necessary because of everything I could do with that thing. But the reason I think the 22LR is such a great survival round is because you could grab like 1,000 rounds and stick them in your pockets. Incredibly easy to succeed. You know, there's really not any other calibers out there. I mean, there's a few, but nothing that's going to be as versatile as a 22LR and have many options of guns as a 22LR, but be that darn tiny that you could fit a ton of rounds. I mean, if you're backpacking it, you got a lot more ammo than anybody with carrying much larger calibers. So I believe the 22LR is probably the number 1 survival caliber. If you have a 22LR and you're heading out in the wilderness, you're going to do just fine in most scenarios. Number 2, the 223. And I'm also going to include the 5.56 in this. Now, this is an outstanding survival round because unlike the 22LR, you know, you could hunt a deer with a 22LR, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. You'll definitely have more success. Well, I know in most states that's illegal at this point, but we're talking kind of an end of the world scenario here. A 223 or 5.56 is still a very small round compared to most other rounds. It's a great centerfire cartridge that you could, again, maybe not thousands of rounds, but definitely hundreds and hundreds of rounds you could fit into your pocket. But it's also the versatility of firearms themselves. Of course, sporting rifles, any sort of AR platform, most are going to fit a 223 or 5.56. And the adjustability of uppers and lower, and like so many things you could do with that particular round, as well as a bunch of great bolt rifles in that round and that caliber. So I believe the 223 is a great one. I think it's an abundance of, there's an abundance of ammo out there. If I had to run out the door and grab a rifle, it'd probably be a 223. I'd want to grab that 22LR, but if I could only grab one, it's probably going to be the 223. Number 3, 12 gauge. Now, 12 gauge is a great option as well. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to fit as many 12 gauge rounds into your pocket. These are very heavy rounds, and just having like 100 of them weighs a ton. But the versatility of a 12 gauge is incredible. To have one gun that you could use birdshot to hunt some squirrels or some birds with it. You could use, you know, a squirrel shot to hunt, you know, like squirrels and rabbits and even some larger animals. You know, you use some buckshot to shoot, you know, larger deer. You could use then slugs to shoot deer. All those you could use for self-defense in any situation, whether it be 2 or 4-legged predators. It's a great round to have, and there's a ton of 12-gauge shotguns out there. You know, if you want a gun that's going to survive forever, it's going to be like a double barrel or a pump action shotgun as well. It's a great option. You know, having something that's semi-automatic definitely has its risks compared to something that's more manual, like a pump action shotgun. But again, you can't carry as much ammo, but the versatility you don't get as good as this. Like, there's no other cartridge in the world that's going to allow you such versatility in the different types of ammo you can use than something like a 12-gauge. There's a ton of it out there. Number 4, 357 Magnum. Now, I'm also going to include a 38 Special in that, because kind of like the 223 and 556, you know, they're similar and different, but they both fit into the same gun. And that's why I'm going to include that one. If you have a revolver, and I'm going to talk about why the benefits of the revolver itself, but if you have a revolver that fits a 357, it fits a 38 too. So if you have a 357, you're stocking up on 38, it's kind of, you're stocking up on the same. Again, I know it's different ammo. It's very different ammo, actually. But it fits into the same gun, so I'm going to include them in the same category. So why this? Well, a revolver is an incredibly good choice for surviving, because something, and a 357 Magnum is going to be your best option. 44 Magnum, sure, it'll do great, but, you know, ammo's super darn expensive, really hard to find, not at all fun to shoot. You know, you're not going to practice as much with something like that. It's definitely, and there's not as many options as far as firearms. Like a 357 Magnum, there's way more options in firearms than any other revolver caliber out there, period. And again, I'm going to include the 38 Special in there as well. But that particular caliber is a fantastic defensive weapon against any sort of 4-legged predator or 2-legged predator, but it's also a great round to have for hunting. And having a revolver is a very significant game changer when it comes to survival. It's really a gun that kind of does it all. And I believe that if you're going to choose a revolver, you're going to have to choose a 357 or 38 Special. And finally, number 5. A 9mm. Now, 9mm for several reasons. Number 1, you could have a handgun or a rifle. There's a lot of companies out there making these pistol caliber rifles. Many of them can take even the same magazines. But there's really no other handgun on the planet that's being mass produced more than the 9mm. It's by far the most popular handgun caliber out there. It's by far the most popular handgun caliber for concealed carriers, for sports shooters, for military, for police, around the entire planet. So I believe that a 9mm is going to be your best bet because of the versatility of the different guns you can get, as well as there's just a ton of ammo, being a NATO cartridge specifically. And by the way, the 556, I didn't bring that up with the 556, but having a NATO cartridge is very significant. So there you go. Any thoughts or insight on any of that? Definitely put that below. Again, these are just what I believe to be the 5 best survival calibers out there. You know, there's so many other variables that I haven't thought of. Definitely put them below. Would like to take a moment and say, feel called to support this channel with Patreon. That link is below. We are able to do the content we want to do in the face of kind of this upriver battle of YouTube algorithms. Because of the support of patrons. So that link is below. But by far, the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.